everyone, it's Jess from Meyer Hatchery. As poultry keepers, we are constantly looking for ways to save a little on the farm. And today I want to share a few tips that we have for keeping some of the costs down when it comes to raising your poultry. My first tip is use what you have around. If you're anything like me, I've got pallets and pieces of wood just about everywhere. If you need to build something for your flock, maybe a boredom buster, be sure to check out what you have around. You can also build your own coop. There are a lot of great DIY plans out there that really use what you have on the farm, and I'll leave a link to those in the description below. Another thing that you can consider is farming some treats for your flock. You can raise things like mealworms and black soldier flies. Those are a great boredom buster for your flock. They're going to give them a boost of protein, and believe it or not, they are super easy to raise. Another thing that you can consider is free-ranging your flock. When your flock is out free-ranging, they are enjoying all the treats and bugs and greens that they can find out on their adventures, and that's going to cut down on feed costs. If free-ranging is not an option, you can also consider raising your flock in a tractor type system, which allows you to move your flock from one place to the other, but really protects them from predators. Another thing that you can do is you can use some of the materials you have around the farm, and you can build some graze frames. That is a really great way to allow your flock to enjoy some greens, but they're not going to really tear up your yard. Graze frames are excellent to use in the wintertime when there's not a lot of greens available too. Another thing that you may want to look at when it comes to saving a little bit on your farm is the types of breeds you choose for your flock. You want to choose breeds that are high production breeds. So look at breeds such as the Golden Buffs and the Buff Orpingtons. Those are going to be breeds that are going to be high production layers. They're going to be friendly, they're going to be dual purpose, they're going to be great at free ranging, and they're just going to be a breed that is going to really produce for you on your farm and your homestead. Another way to save a little extra on your farm is to compost. Right here we've got our composter here. We've also got big piles of compost, and these not only are going to help us save because we are recycling the scraps that we have and turning it into soil, which is going to go in our garden. We're also composting all of our chickens' bedding, and anything like that is going to go in here, and we're going to use that for gardening. But your flock also loves to scrape around in the compost and eat the bugs and so forth that are in there. So if you can have an open compost pile, your flock will love that boredom buster. And if you're looking for a way to reuse that bedding after you've cleaned the coop, I highly suggest one of these closed composters here. Another way to save some money on your farm is to really look at the type of bedding that you're using. You want to use bedding that is going to be absorbent. You also want to make sure that it's a bedding that's going to be safe for your flock, so you don't want to use things like cedar or sawdust. My biggest suggestion is pine shavings, which I've got a couple here. We know we use way more than this in our coop. But you want to make sure that you do your research on where you're sourcing your bedding from. You also want to make sure that you look at how you're using your bedding in your coop. You don't want to put too much bedding in there, because not only are you wasting your bedding, you could make your coop too hot in the summertime, or it could get too moist too fast, and then you could develop odors and things like that in your coop. So when it comes to your bedding, really make sure you do your research, find a good source for it, and make sure you're using the proper amount in your coop. When it comes to feeding your flock, make sure that you are doing your research when it comes to their feed. Number one, make sure they're eating the right amount of protein for the age of the bird, so you're not wasting the feed. Another thing that I suggest is to research all the feed suppliers in your area. Feed mills are generally cheaper than going to a big box store, but if you don't have access to that, be sure to check out all the options that you do have in your area. Speaking of feed, chickens can overconsume feed, and they can kick it all over their coop area. So you want to make sure that you're mindful of how much food you're actually putting into your coop. You want to start with about a 1/4 pound of food per hen per day. I highly suggest using feeders that the chickens cannot kick the food out and you can really control the amount of feed that's in there. PVC pipe feeders are a really great option. Feeders with grates on them so they can't kick them are another good option as well. The last option I want to talk about is kitchen and garden scraps. My flock loves garden scraps. You can hear them. They're ready for their treats for the day. But saving kitchen scraps are really good for your flock. Just keep a bowl on your counter and put the extra food that you have in there and take it out to your flock once a day. It's going to cut down on food consumption and your flock is going to love those fresh treats. Another thing you can offer your flock is garden treats. Our flock loves leftovers from the garden, from squash to greens, and it's a great way for you to kind of recycle at the end of your garden's cycle. I know recently I've had some lettuce here that was time to pull out and put some fresh in, and the flock got all the leftover lettuce and they absolutely loved it. Hopefully I've given you some tips when it comes to saving some on your farm. If you have any questions, be sure to let us know in the comments below. I better go give the girls their kitchen scraps. Thank you so much for watching.